Get out of Minnesota with a 1-2 split. You'd like to bring that losing string to a quick end here tonight, get right back on the winning track, and then go to tomorrow night's game knowing that even if you do lose, the worst you can leave Minneapolis and head to Seattle is still tied with the Minnesota Twins. All set to call it for you. Once again, here's Phil Stone.
Thank you, Dwayne. Willie Wilson
63 out, 71.
steps into the right side. Willie with the .306 average. Couple of homers, 40 RBIs. Viola's a tough one. There's no question about it. And the first pitch to Willie, he goes for it and puts it on the back screen. Well, we talked last night that the Royals are certainly most effective when this man reaches base. Willie with 40 stolen bases looks at a ball from Viola. 1 ball, 1 strike. Wilson is 6th in the American League in stolen bases. He is 16 behind Ricky Henderson of the Oakland A's. Fastball. Willie 2 for 4 last night off of Smithson. The left-hander winds. Here's the pitch. Again, it is fouled off. Boy, it's hard to believe. Not only the Royals and the Twins records a year ago, they were so far completely buried in terms of any kind of a pennant race, but Viola, as Dwayne mentioned, 7-12 a year ago today. ERA well over 5. Wilson looks at a ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Well, we watched Smithson last night. He was blowing early. Gubazar was pumping up around 90 miles an hour. And Viola is right up at the 90-mile-an-hour mark here in the first inning. There's a shot to center field. Puckett drifts over into left center. And Willie Wilson is retired here to open the ball game. So as Wilson retreats, Lynn Jones will step in. Jones getting one of his rare starts. Lynn is playing in his 34th game. Brings in a pretty hefty batting average. Try on .362. Inside, 2 balls and no strikes now from Viola. Viola very rarely hurts himself. 122 strikeouts, 60 bases on balls. For those of you who care, it is 63 degrees outside here in Minneapolis this evening at game time. 71 under this air suspended dome. 2 balls and a strike. Shot to right field. Brunansky's right there. Wilson a fly ball to Puckett. Jones a shot to Brunansky, and there are 2 quick outs here in the top of the first as Darryl Motley will step in. Darryl with .287 batting average. 14 homers, 60 RBIs. Breaking ball. And that is fair, says third base umpire Jimmy McKeon. Motley rounds first. He'll head for second as Hatcher waits for the ball to carry him off the padded wall and left. And the Royals, with 2 outs, have a runner at second. And Hal McRae coming to the plate.
Here it is again. Big curveball that Motley waits back on nicely and hits it just inside third. Gary Gaetti thought that ball was going to go foul. He was upset that he didn't take another lunge at it. Another step closer to the line and try and make a play. He thought that ball was going to go foul. Instead, it stayed fair and goes for a 2-out double.
Out of play as McRae picks on Viola's first offering. Viola's last start, back on the 2nd of September, he beat the Rangers. One ball, one strike, 2 outs, top of the first inning, just underway here at the Metrodome. Motley's got his lead. Viola, the 1-1 pitch to McRae. There's an off-speed pitch. Gaetti goes after it. It's fouled by a bunch. Well, Mack has not experienced a great deal of luck, Dwayne, against the Minnesota Twins pitching staff at 1984.
He only has a hit in 12 at bats. And now with that runner in scoring position, Mack concentrating solely on making contact and getting a 2-out base hit.
Mack with the .295 average, but over his last 13 games, Hal is hitting .361. Just got a piece of it, put it on the backstop. Count stands, a ball and 2 strikes. Motley with the lead. Just off the plate. Hal had an ocean and held off. And home plate umpire Marty Springstead called it ball 2. I'd like to have been down at the conference at the plate when both managers came out tonight after what transpired last night in the ball game. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Off the plate, 3-2. And the incident I'm talking about was a ground ball by Willie Wilson that Hrbek fielded. Both he and Willie arrived at first base at the same time. Springstead, who last night was at first base, called Wilson safe. Gardner came charging out of the dugout, and after about a 3-minute argument, chased Gardner. Ground ball to Spire, across to Hrbek. McRae 6-3. The 2-out double by Motley to no avail. After a half inning of play, it's Kansas City nothing. The Twins coming to bat.
Something speak for themselves.
Michelob, one smooth and mellow taste tells you all you need to know. Michelob, some things speak for themselves.
For the Kansas City Royals tonight, Charlie Lebrand goes to work against the Minnesota Twins. Lebrand has won 9 and lost 6 games. His ERA at a respectable 3.38. Again, he is 2-1 against Minnesota this year. In 122 innings, Charlie Lebrand has given up 46 earned runs while allowing 133 hits. He has walked 46 and, I should say, walked 31. He has struck out a total of 46 on the season. The lineup that Charlie Lebrand will face from Minnesota: Kirby Puckett, the center fielder, leads it off. Tim Tuffle bats second with Mickey Hatcher hitting number 3. Kent Hrbek batting 4th. Tom Brunansky 5th, followed by Gary Gaetti in the number 6 position with Dave Engel, the DH, hitting 7th. Tim Laudner batting 8th and Chris Spire number 9. Defensively for the Minnesota Twins, I should say for the Kansas City Royals, Balboni is at first with Frank White at second. Buddy Biancalana at short and Greg Pryor at third. In left field, it's Darryl Motley, Willie Wilson in center, and Lynn Jones in right field. Don Slott doing the catching, and the left-hander Charlie Lebrand out of Fairfield, Ohio. The 27-year-old is 9-6. Trying to go 3-1 on the year against the Twins with a win here tonight. Once again, here's Phil.
Dwayne, you think Charlie feels a little pressure tonight? He knows he's in a pennant race for the first time in his career.
And he knows that he wants to pitch well and get this team back to win number 74.
And Kirby Puckett picks on Charlie's first offering, a fastball up around the numbers, and doesn't get it. A strike. Well, as I said last night, what I love about Puckett, we saw him when he first came up our first trip in here. I mean, the guy creates excitement.
He really does. He's got a power-packed swing, and he, like Tuffle, generates some pop in that bat. Not in the home run count like Tuffle has this year with 14, but Puckett drives the ball. He's suited for this park. He's got the good speed and definitely makes the defense think a little bit more when he's on base.
And he crowds the plate. That last pitch by Leibrandt was no accident. And that's the thing I like about Leibrandt. When he wants a guy off the plate, instead of going for the head like a lot of pitchers, Charlie just initially subtly sends the ball in low, letting him know, hey, get off the plate. And if he still hangs around the plate, that's when he'll bring a little chin music. Leibrandt, he's the kind of pitcher who doesn't like the hitters invading his territory, that being the outside part of the plate. Charlie said to me a day in Boston, he said, I got to have something to throw at. There's a ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Puckett.
Charlie, that last pitch, same spot that he had the first offering that Puckett chased for strike 1.
Got him. Fastball that dived into the dirt, and Kirby thought it was good enough to go after. 1 batter, 1 strikeout for Leibrandt.
Watch this ball just disappear from the zone of Kirby Puckett. Man, he went for it, but it just wasn't there. Nice piece of pitching that time by Leibrandt. On the 4th pitch, he threw to Puckett. He threw a fastball up in the strike zone. He backed off and then went away, low and away, and got him swinging.
So with 1 out, Tim Tuffle comes to the plate, brings a .271 average with him. Versus Leibrandt this year, Tuffle has seen him 10 times and collected 3 hits. A ball and a strike now to Tim. Oh, was this guy something last night defensively?
Yeah, he had a busy first 3 innings. He's a good player.
Popped up. Biancalana. Waved off by Frank White. You think White remembered what happened last night to Buddy?
I think, number one, Frank had it right from the beginning and was going with the ball off the bat and just took control of the play and knew he was going to make it and called off Biancalana.
Well, if you missed last night's game, what we're talking about is last night's ball game, 3rd inning. There's Hatcher. Base hit goes right past Leibrandt. First hit for the Twins, 2nd hit of the ball game. The incident last night I spoke of, Biancalana lost a ball on the dome, dropped in for a 2-base hit.
Leibrandt with a first pitch curveball right here. And Hatcher was looking for it and went right back up the middle with it. He was watching Tim Tuffle from the on-deck circle. Tuffle took the first pitch curveball strike from Leibrandt. Leibrandt started Hatcher off the same way, only Mickey Hatcher wasn't taking. He was swinging and come up with a base hit.
Here's Hrbek. Kent with a .319 average. And he got the Gubazov for an RBI single last night. Hatcher moves off. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Kent. It's too low, 2-0.
Gubazov has had success against Hrbek by working him inside. Now keep in mind that Charlie Leibrandt does not have the velocity of a Mark Gubazov, so cannot come running inside in that player's wheelhouse and challenge him all that often. He's got to mix it up and try and keep the ball low and away.
Gets away from slot. Hatcher had an idea but wisely returned.
Here's a look at the last pitch from Leibrandt. Down in the dirt, blocked nicely by Don Slot. May very easily be one of these unintentional, intentional walks to Kent Hrbek.
3-0 in there. Fastball hits the corner. And the "what have I done from you lately" file, Hrbek 1982 hit .301. Last year he hit .297. And he's bumping up around .320 this year.
I think you're going to find with Kent Hrbek, Phil, as his career goes year after year, he's going to be the guy not only to hit for the big numbers, but he's going to hit for the high average. He's going to be a steady 290 to 300 plus hitter.
Well, he's fourth in the league this year, Dwayne, in batting average. Out of play behind Winfield, Mattingly, Eddie Murray. He's also mentioned in the on-base percentage department. .390. Murray leading the league with a .426 percentage.
Pretty good battle between Winfield and Mattingly, isn't it?
3 points separate him. About 2 weeks ago, Mattingly surpassed Winfield. David Mark didn't particularly care for that, so he jumped right back in the batter's box and began swatting baseballs. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Lee Brandt has come back from a 3-0 count. Hatcher with the lead. 1 out, bottom of the first, no score. He crowded him and missed. So Lee Brandt, after getting Puckett and Tuffle harmlessly, allowed a comebacker that got back through the box to Hatcher, and now a walk to Hrbek. So at 2 outs, here's Brunansky. Hits even at 1. Runs even at none. And now Lee Brandt would like Slot to go through the signs again. There's a beauty. Royals play Brunansky straight away and rather deep. Little nubber. Balboni may have a shot at it. And he can't hold it, or does he? No, he cannot hold it.
Well, I think they've ruled no play on the ball on Balboni.
Now that's a bit strange, because a year ago when the rule went into effect, you drop a foul ball, it's an error.
Well, now they've changed it. They've gone to an error on Balboni.
Used to be they wouldn't put the error up until the hitter either got on base or was put out. There's a fly ball. Willie Wilson, Frank White. Now Lynn Jones calling everybody off. He sees it. And Jones puts Brunansky back in the dugout. Fly ball to right field. The Twins gone in their half of the first. Lee Brandt survives. We go to the second inning, scoreless from the Metrodome.
You're watching Sports Time with the games you don't want to miss.
Hi, I'm Stacy St. James. All of us here at Sports Time are interested in your opinions and ideas on how we can bring you the very best sports programming ever. So, to make it easy, we're offering you consumer and programming hotlines, both available 24 hours a day and both at no cost to the caller. So if you'd like programming information, call 1-800-821-6256. In Missouri, call 1-800-392-5828. And if you have any consumer questions or comments, call 1-800-221-1047. In Missouri, just call 1-800-392-5797. Now, I'd like to remind you that as a subscriber, you play a very important part in Sports Time programming. So call now and let us know the games you don't want to miss on Sports Time, Mid-America's Sports Network.
Scoreless at the Metrodome. Kansas City and Minnesota with a hit apiece. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Kansas City Royals. It is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Royals is prohibited. What that means is if any of your neighbors are pirating the signal tonight off their satellite dish, we want to let them know that they will be taken immediately to the bar of their choice, put their hand on the bar, and they will be smashed with baseballs if they are caught.
Yes, indeed.
Here is Frank White. He picks on the changeup, pops it straight up, and Laudner has a shot at it. Frank White retired. 1 pitch, 1 out for Viola. Well, I'd like to say hello to some people I know are watching us out in La Mesa, California tonight. Bob and Julie Grossman, good friends of mine out in the Mount Helix area.
Where?
Here's Slot. I think we got some other Californians looking in.
Well, we do. We have father of Dane Orge watching in Blue Lake, California.
Oh, Blue Lake.
Mr. Orge, hello. Taking good care of your son.
Slot swings on a pitch, fouls it off, evens the count of the ball into strike. I'll tell you, I think those satellite Earth stations are the greatest thing. I'm thinking about putting one in myself.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that, big boy.
Yeah, I won't be inviting you over to watch it. I want to let you know that right now.
Well, you
cost you
and I
about $25 bucks.
That's exactly right. It cost me that much to get to the airport to get a flight to get to your house.
1 ball and 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the 2nd inning. Viola works now to Slot. Fastball misses. The thing you got to like about Viola, not only his hard numbers, the statistics that you can pick up and read. Watch his motion, almost effortless for as hard as he throws. Slot puts it out of play, right field line. Brunansky with no chance at all. What a catch! What a catch! Billy Gardner will be getting that guy's home phone number.
Well, here it is again. Now watch the concentration. Look at this man reaching. Look at that. That's outstanding.
You don't see him losing it in the dome, do you?
No. See, all that stuff. Weak excuse.
Misses. 3 balls and 2 strikes.
A lot of players upset at that fan right now.
Slot awaits the 3-2 offering. Swung on and missed. Strikeout number 1 for Frank Viola.
Frank Viola humps up a good one here. Riding up and away from Don Slot. He just swings right through it. And he is the 2nd out of the inning. Viola, I guess, is maybe Johnny, for pitching coach Johnny Padres, has turned out to be his prime pupil because he has worked so hard with Frank Viola. Padres knew the potential was there for the left-hander. It was getting him to think, number one, that he could win, his confidence with his stuff, and he has added that changeup, which has really made this guy a very effective pitcher.
Balboni a mile high. Laudner has it. 2 foul outs that Laudner handles easily here. 1 off the bat of White. And now Balboni, 3 up, 3 down. First time in the ball game we've seen that on either side. Let's go to the bottom of number 2. We're scoreless at the Metrodome.
This is today's Chevrolet.
Versatile. The year-round versatility of S10 Blazer.
In spring, Blazer's right on the job or on the town.
In summer, Blazer lets you get to work or get away.
In fall, Blazer's ready for the chores or for the fun.
In winter, Blazer's a great outdoor sport. Chevy S10 Blazer, America's best-selling sport utility vehicle.
Every season, there's a reason to own one.
That's today's Chevrolet.
Somebody's flying your way. You know it's Ozark. We're up there flying your way, the way you wanna fly. Across the USA, every day, Ozark flies your way. Ozark flies your way. Ozark.
Serving over 60 cities coast to coast, border to border.
Howie Bedell on the left, Dick Hauser on the right. Dick was talking last night, Dwayne, about the excitement of being in a pennant chase. Everything changes. Your whole demeanor changes. The demands when you come to the ballpark, they're all, you know, turned around. The media's looking for you. Everybody wants a story. Like Dick says, everybody just wants 5 minutes. What most of the people don't realize is there's 50 guys who just want 5 minutes.
That's exactly right. That's, you know, the thing that for the average fan that they don't get to see, whether it's with the manager or the player, the demands that are put on an individual when it gets to this time of the season. Obviously, the demand has been there with the team like Detroit all year long because of the way they jumped off 35-5. But for the Royals now, it's become a recent item, a hot item, as are the Minnesota Twins. So it's been rather difficult at times for both sides. Billy Gardner, Dick Howser, Twins players, Royals players, to find some quiet time during BP.
Here's Gaetti, 2 for 4 last night off of Gubazov. Looks at a ball now from Leibrandt. 2-0. Gaetti also scored a run and knocked in one. I sure like this guy's rifle for an arm.
Yeah, he's got a good one.
Two balls and a strike. Gaetti just kind of backs out, looks back at Marty Springstead and chuckles. Motley playing straight away and deep in left. Wilson shallow in center, swung on and missed. Leibrandt now working that changeup rather nicely. 2-2. Ground ball, foul. Pryor will field it. So the count holds at 2 balls and 2 strikes. The Royals nothing 1-1. The Twins nothing 1-0. Kansas City got its hit back in the first inning. A 2-out double by Motley just inside the third baseline. Hatcher got Minnesota's base hit with 2 outs in the first. Charlie 2-2. Fly ball. Willie Wilson's there. And Gaetti cut down to open the second inning for the Twins.
Kirby Puckett made a comment after last night's ball game about observing the way the Royals played fly balls to the outfield. That last play, notice Willie Wilson running in with his head up. He said in last night's ball game and the ball that got lost, he said Willie Wilson ran in first with his head down, then looked up in an effort to try and pick the ball up. And he says here in the dome, you can't do that. You've got to keep your head up in the air all the time once that ball gets airborne off the bat.
Here's Engel. He looks at a strike from Charlie. Engel's been bothered by just a myriad of injuries this year. The back, the knee, now the wrist. Little number to Frank White, almost cue ball. Frank picks it up 4-3. White's first look at the ball tonight, and he gets Engel.
He's been in a real tough slump at the plate also, Phil, and it's the reason why he hasn't been. This man here, Tim Laudner's been doing most of the catching over the recent weeks. Billy Gardner just hasn't been able to put Dave Engel in there. He mentioned the Toronto series here in Minnesota. Came to bat 5 times with a chance to drive in a run. With runners at first and third or at first and second. 5 times and into 5 double plays. They said I had to sit him down. He wasn't swinging well. And said it's just really been a struggle for him the last month.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Well, you know, you go back to the trip we made in here, Dwayne, the last part of May, the first couple of days in June. Engel was right up amongst the league leaders in the American League in batting average. He was hitting right about 360.
I'm going to say he was, yeah, right around the 360, 370 mark.
Now look at his average now. He's down about 95 points. That'll happen to you over the long haul of a baseball season when you're bothered by injury after injury. Dave said he'd just recuperate from one, and another would seem to just creep up and jump on him.
And you know, with that good start that he got off to, and he was catching every day and he was hitting the ball, number one, management didn't expect him to be a 360 hitter over the course of the whole season. But what they did expect him to be is a high 280s, right around 300 hitter. And now that he's gone below that and he's gone through this tough slump, It's just been a once or twice a week in the lineup thing for Dave Engel.
Laudner. The error will go to Biancalana. He had it in plenty of time and could not make the play.
Here it is again. Biancalana moving to his left near second. Scoops it up very nicely. Now shovels it off. And look at this. A one hopper and up off the wrist of Balboni. And it's an error on Buddy Biancalana. Not at all happy with it. And well, it comes with 2 out. And hopefully it won't cost the Royals and Charlie Lebrand here in the second inning.
Well, if batting average means anything, it shouldn't cost him. Here's Chris Spire hitting an even 100. Ball 1.
Spire wasn't really thrilled about not being in the lineup last night. He played in the Texas series. He committed an error in that Texas series, the final game, which was costly to the Minnesota Twins. He went 1 for 10 in the 3 games.
Lebrand will have to hurry. On to Balboni, gets the job done. And oh, Charlie, look at him walking. You don't think that hurt? Right into the gloved hand. And that's stinging. Spire hits it about as hard as you can hit it and comes up empty. So the error by Biancalana does not cost the Royals. We've got 2 in the books as you look at it again. And we are scoreless in Minneapolis.
This Bud's for everyone who takes the power and sends it down the line.
This Bud's for you. For all you do, the king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you. That distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do, this Bud's for you.
During the 1984 Olympic Games, Earth Grains will be the bread in every athlete's lunchbox every day.
When the best of all nations, great bread will be there. Earth Grains, bread at its best, the promise of freshness, goodness. Earth Grains, the promise of bread at its best.
Kansas City and Minnesota locked up in another good one here for the second consecutive night. No score here, each team with a hit apiece. Remember, Dwayne and I will be right back at the Metrodome tomorrow night, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central, for another live matchup between these Royals and the Minnesota Twins. One thing we know, by the time this game comes to an end, one of these teams will occupy first place all alone. Here's Pryor to lead things off in the third for Kansas City. You know, depending on what the Angels do tonight, Dwayne, at home, the loser of this game could drop from a first-place tie into third place.
Well, you would have the loser tonight 73 and 71. California 72 and 70, provided the Angels would come up with a win against the Cleveland Indians.
Too high. Boy, Pryor has caught fire in the past week. The 267 average overall, but you go back over his last 7 games. How about a 333 clip? Two balls and 2 strikes to Greg here as he leads off the Kansas City half of the third inning. Here's the breaking ball. Oh, Pryor laid back on that ever so nicely.
That he did, Phil. Nice, easy swing, stroke right back up the middle, and collects the second Kansas City hit. Here it is again. Curveball coming right over the middle, and Greg Pryor just sends it very easily back into center field. It's 2 breaking balls that have been hit for base hits off Viola. The one to Motley that he pulled down into the left field corner, and now this one to straightaway center by Pryor.
Biancalana shortens to bunt, doesn't go for it, and it's a called strike, so says Marty Springstead. Now Biancalana will look at Ferraro. Pryor looking on from first base. Gaetti at third is even with the bag, and he will creep even closer as Viola goes into his motion. One and one. Little number. Gaetti to second. Oh, what a play by Gaetti.
Here it is again, Bud Biancalana. A half a swing. Nice play on the short hop by Gaetti. Off balance, goes to Tuffle at second for one, and Tuffle doing a good job of getting the relay off to Hrbek to complete the double play.
Willie Wilson with 2 outs, nobody aboard, looks at a strike. Out of play, 0-2. Make that 1-2.
And another thing with Gaetti, he's playing up for Biancalana about 3 steps. Had he been playing back, Buddy Biancalana would be at first base. But with Gaetti playing up several steps in front of the bag, he was that much closer to the ball, and it wasn't hit hard, and therefore it allowed Gaetti to make the clean scoop and start the double play.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Off-speed breaking ball. Willie Wynn didn't connect. That is strikeout number 2 for Viola. As we go to the home half of the third, it's Minnesota nothing, Kansas City nothing.
If you're in business and serious about it, where can you get all the business news you need these days? In a daily newspaper? Even in the best, you get only a section of business news. That's too little. In business magazines, well, if you have to wait a week to read the news, maybe it's not news anymore. Too late. Too little, too late. There's one publication that gives you all the business news you need when you need it. The Wall Street Journal. Every business day in the Journal, the world's largest staff of business news experts reports anything happening anywhere that can affect business, your company, your career, in depth, in detail, in time for you to use it. If you're serious about business, too little, too late isn't good enough. You need the Wall Street Journal.
Save $7.50 off the cover price with a subscription to the Wall Street Journal. Order 19 weeks for $39. Phone toll-free 800-821-1000. That's 19 weeks, just $39. And save $7.50. Phone 800-821-1000.
Bill Stone and Dwayne Mosley back for the bottom half of the third inning here at the Hubert H. Humphrey Metrodome in Minneapolis. I'll tell you, you want to come to Minneapolis, Minnesota, you want to be here on a day like we had today. Temperature in the mid-60s all day long, not a cloud in the sky. Oh, this is some beautiful part of the country.
Great area, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Bottom of the third we go, and here's Kirby Puckett to lead things off for the Twins. They'd like to get something going. Charlie Leibrandt would like to keep them from doing just that. Puckett struck out to open the ball game. You know, Puckett fouls off so many balls over into that area of the stands, you have to wonder if maybe he's got friends there. Shortens up the bunt. That's exactly what Leibrandt did to Kirby in the first inning on the second pitch.
That'll make Kirby Puckett think twice. He was already to lean out and drop a bunt on a breaking ball, but he didn't get it. He got a fastball running in and right by the chin.
Inside, 2 balls into strike. Well, you look at Pryor at third base. He's in about 8 to 10 feet in front of the bag.
Keep in mind he has 21 bunt singles on the season.
3-1 now. Shot to right field. Lynn Jones right there on the run, and Puckett is gone. Well, Puckett drove it well. You know, I have to laugh every time, Dwayne, I see Lee Brandt take the mound. He looks so lackadaisical, and he almost appears as if he's bored with it all.
Well, you know what it is that he doesn't let anything bother him. He rarely shows emotion. Something goes bad, he doesn't let it bother him. He just keeps it all within and keeps everything in perspective, knowing that it's he versus batter. So that is a unique quality in any pitcher.
But it's almost a state of relaxation he appears to be in. And I suppose, like Charlie said, if you're going to stay in this game for the long haul, you really have to avoid the peaks and the valleys, because he said day in and day out, if you let yourself get caught up in the drama, look out. Fly ball off the bat of Tuffle, deep to left center. Extra bases for Timmy.
The more you see Tim Tuffle, the more you like him. Short swing, generates a lot of power, a lot of bat speed, and he drove that ball very quickly into left center, where Motley played it off the base of the wall. And Tuffle wheeled around second and threw on the brakes. He's got a 1-out double. Second time in this game that Minnesota has had a runner at second base.
Here's Mickey Hatcher. He owns the other Minnesota hit. A single back in the first. Oh, and 2. So Lee Brandt out in front of Mickey, just where he wants to be. Bottom of the third inning at the Metrodome in Minneapolis. The Twins nothing. The Royals nothing. Minnesota with Tuffle at second base and 1 out, trying to mount a charge here in the third. Lee Brandt checks Tuffle, now works 0-2. Shot to right field will get in. 1-0 ball game.
Mickey Hatcher is now 6 for 11 against Charlie Lee Brandt. Boy, he has had Lee Brandt's number all year long. Ball up, and he's able to fight it off to right field and drive in his 60th run of the season.
Kent Hrbek. Look out. Everybody clearing out of the Twins dugout. Breaking ball off the plate evens the count at a ball and a strike. So Minnesota now with 3 hits and a run. Kansas City with a goose egg and 2 hits. Right back up over our head here along broadcast row. 1 ball, 2 strikes now on Hrbek. Hrbek born right here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. A childhood dream come true to play for his hometown team. A chopper, Balboni, backs up, only plays to first. Hrbek is gone. Moving to second base is Hatcher. So with 2 outs, Brunansky. He hit a fly ball to Lynn Jones to end the first inning. 1-0 Twins. Last year, Brunansky set a club record with 15 game-winning RBIs. This year, he has 11. Lee Rand works 1-0. Shot to left field. Motley dead in his tracks. Boy, you talk about play on a batter perfectly. Motley right where he had to be to snag the line shot off the bat of Tom Brunansky. But the Twins draw first blood on a 1-out double to left center by Tuffle and a run-scoring single by Hatcher. We've got 3 in the books. It's 1-0 Minnesota. And now we take you to Sports Desk and Stacy St. James with our winner of the Athlete of the Week honors. Stacy?
Good evening, everybody. Well, our Athlete of the Week winner this week really came out swinging. The bat, that is. He is Cincinnati Reds left fielder Eric Davis, who after coming off the disabled list September 1st, has been on a hard-hitting streak. Last week, Davis became the first Reds player to hit 5 home runs in 4 games since George Foster did it in 1978. In the first inning of Thursday's game against the Padres, Davis was number 3 on the order, and after Rose's single, he hit this one over the left field wall to score 2 for Cincinnati. After that lead, the Reds followed suit and won the game by a score of 10-3. At age 22, Eric Davis definitely has time on his side, and if he keeps up this pace, he just may make the record books. When asked about Davis last week, Coach Pete Rose said whenever we put him in the lineup, he's responded by hitting a home run. In 51 games, Davis has 34 hits, 25 RBIs, and 8 home runs. For all of us here at Sports Time and all of our viewers, I'd like to congratulate Eric Davis for exceptional play. Eric Davis is Sports Time's Athlete of the Week.
The first 3 innings are history here at the Metrodome, and this the second game of the 3-game series. Minnesota 1, Kansas City 0. And to take you through the 4th, 5th, and 6th, here's Dwayne Mosley.
All right, thank you, Phil. The first pitch is a strike to Lynn Jones. Ball up in the strike zone, and Jones sends it foul. First base side, way back into the seats. And now Viola is out in front, 0-2. Lynn Jones had one of his biggest hits of the season back on September the 4th against the Twins, when he pinch hit against Pete Filson in the 7th inning and drilled a 2-run double. The Royals came from behind to beat Minnesota 4-1. Fastball hit foul again. 1-2. Jones checks. Durwood Merrill at first says yes, he did hold in time. Ball 2 and strike 2. Final game of this series is tomorrow night when Bud Black 14-11 goes for Kansas City. John Butcher 12-8 for Minnesota. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Slider that missed down and in. So after being 0-2 against Jones, Viola is now ball 3 and strike 2. Strike 2 call. Strikeout number 3 for Frank Viola, his 125th of the season.
Well, it's his 125th of the season. You're right, Dwayne, and he is only 2 back of his career high as a Minnesota Twin. Last year he found 127. Boy, he brings it. Really does.
Darryl Motley swings and drives to center field straight away. The Kirby Puckett, after going back, comes in 2 steps and is there to make the catch. Talking about his 127 strikeouts a year ago, Phil, and now being 2 behind it at this point. Just another indication of how much he has improved over a year ago. We talked from the onset. A year ago he was 7-12. This year he is 15-12. I mean, a year ago at this time he was 7-12. So he has 8 more wins, the same amount of losses, and his ERA is almost 2 full points lower than what it was a year ago at this time.
You know, Twin, I was just scanning their media guide, and they have a brief bio on Frank. I love these media guides. It said last December Frank walked down the aisle with former Miss Kathy Daltus of St. Paul. They don't say which aisle he walked down. They don't say why he walked down the aisle. Doesn't say anything about being married.
Breaking ball hit foul. They really should point out that whether it's the side aisle, middle aisle.
And I'll tell you, I really get upset about these kind of things. Not much upsets me, but those things really get my goat.
Well, we'll rip Tom Mee after the ball game to his face. Yeah. Inside, missing to Al McRae. 2 balls and a strike. Kansas City will be on to Seattle this weekend, the 14th through the 16th. September 17th through the 20th in Anaheim against the California Angels. That is a 4-game series. McRae, strike called by Marty Springstead. Ball 2 and strike 2, and Hal McRae is saying once again, you have got to be kidding me. Well, Jim McKeon was no piece of work last night. He got it from both sides. Fastball outside corner. McRae knew it. Boy, Hal has struggled against the Twins this year. He is 1 for 14. And that is strikeout number 4. Royals get nothing after 3.5. Viola and the Twins lead it 1-0.
This is Sports Time, Mid-America's Sports Network.
There is a side of the professional athlete that few people see. There is a loneliness and unknowing. The thought that you may not make it, you might fail. It's not an easy battle. It takes endurance. I knew if I worked hard enough and kept trying, I'd win. I'm Nick Lowry of the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's a different kind of courage that I've seen as a United Way volunteer. Here at this United Way supported agency, they're fighting against the same old enemies of fear and loneliness, and they are trying just as hard as they can to make their minds and bodies respond.
You may not see it personally as I have, but every time you give to the United Way, you're saying, keep trying, don't give up. And that's why I want to say thanks, because thanks to you, it works for all of us, the United Way.
Going to the bottom of the 4th inning from Minneapolis, the Twins lead the Royals 1-0. Friday night at 7:30 Eastern, Leandra Riley and Bino Cook preview the upcoming weekend of action in the high school, college, and pro ranks of Football America 84. That's coming up Friday night. Coming up for the Minnesota Twins, Gary Gaetti, Dave Engel, and Tim Laudner. Lee Brandt trails by 1, looking to post another 0 on the scoreboard against the Twins. In the first pitch, off speed, missing, ball 1. Strike in the outside corner. Ball 1 and strike 1. Lee Brandt upstairs with ball 2. Gaetti is out of Centralia, Illinois, but makes his offseason home in Orlando, Florida. And last year he did not walk down an aisle with anybody. This ball is sent in the air behind short. Biancalana calling. Look out, here comes Motley. Motley barks louder than Biancalana, calls him off, and Motley makes the play. Now this brought back memories of last night. Biancalana going back. Darryl Motley makes the play. Dave Engel. And he grounded out back in the second inning. The first. One ball and no strikes. And it's now 2-0. The Minnesota Twins looking to take game 2 of this series. And should they do that tonight, they will be rolling into tomorrow night's game behind John Butcher, who is looking to win his 13th, and Black looking to win his 15th of the year for Kansas City. And there's a strike. It's 2-1. And Engel drives left center. Willie Wilson, Darryl Motley, Biancalana. Motley is there to make the catch.
Darryl doing a nice job of taking charge in left field tonight, Dwayne. Saw last night Hatcher just did a marvelous job for the Twins in left. He covered a lot of ground last night, moving into foul territory, going up against the padded wall in foul territory. And tonight Motley has been all over left field.
Tim Laudner reached on a Biancalana error with 2 out of the second inning. That did not cost Kansas City. Spire grounded out sharply to Leibrandt to end the Minnesota half of inning number 2. Twins like Tim Laudner. They feel that he is going to hit for a decent average, plus provide that home run power from behind the plate. They feel they get Tim Laudner where he's going to provide 15 to 25 home runs over the course of the season to go along with the power they get now from Hrbek and Brunansky. They'll have 3 pretty good solid long ballers in their lineup. The 1-1 pitch, and it's fouled back.
You know, the folks around Missouri, Dwayne, remember Timmy Laudner very, very well. Passed up a draft by the Cincinnati Reds organization to enroll at the University of Missouri in Columbia. And now a member of the Minnesota Twins, fighting for a pennant for the first time in 14 years. A long dry spell around here.
Well, it really has. Bounce foul. And boy, it's been a long 14 when you look at all the controversy that has surrounded the former owner now, Calvin Griffith, and his family. Players, the low salaries that Griffith maintained throughout his ownership of the Minnesota Twins. Some of the rifts he has had away from the ballpark with players over a lot of issues, more than just money. 2 balls and 2 strikes. I'm sure we all recall what happened between Rod Carew and Calvin Griffith several years ago, which led to Rod Carew saying so long. The 2-2 pitch, swung at, missed by Laudner, bouncing away from slot. He may not have a play. He won't. Well, a tough break for Charlie Leibrandt. He got a strikeout, and it's a pass ball. Well, they're charging a wild pitch. Strikeout and a wild pitch on Leibrandt. So on at first base is Tim Laudner. Well, he reached in the air. He spoke about a moment ago in the second inning. Now he's on after striking out. Strikeout number 2 for Charlie Leibrandt, but Laudner is on at first base with a wild pitch.
Yeah, there seems to be some discrepancy in the scoring. Now they have placed an error up on the board on slot.
Well, there was an error on Balboni back in the first inning, and the error on Biancalana. Here's a hopper deep in the hole, and Biancalana has no play. Runners at first and second. Don't ball again. They're probably cursing it back home somewhere if you're pulling for the Kansas City Royals, but it won't show up that way in the box score. Here it is again. Spire bounces it in the dirt area, then takes the big hop right here. Biancalana deep back out into left field area. Actually, he doesn't have a play. So runners at first and second for the Minnesota Twins. An infield single. Now Kirby Puckett. After 2 out and both plays made by Motley in left, Laudner is now at second. Spire is at first. Kirby Puckett is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a liner to right field caught by Lynn Jones.
If I were Lee Brandt here, Dwayne, I think I'd push Kirby off the plate with the first pitch.
And it's bounced foul. Charlie working away that time, and he's out in front of Puckett 0-1. Boy, you get that oozy feeling about this inning. The last 2 guys have reached base. That something really drastic is about to go wrong. Inside, and it's 1-1. Off the inside corner at the knee, and Kirby Puckett having to move back a few inches. Ball 1 and strike 1. And Charlie Leibrandt falls behind 2-1. In the American League tonight, after 4 innings in Toronto, the Blue Jays 4, the Yankees nothing. Baltimore and Detroit nothing in the 5th inning. Leibrandt battling the crowd in a 2-1 pitch. Softly tapped foul, and it's now 2-2 to Puckett. Boston trailing Milwaukee 5-4, 6th inning in Boston. Armas has hit his 37th home run of the year for the Red Sox. Meanwhile, Cleveland plays at California, Texas at Seattle, Chicago is at Oakland. Ball 2, strike 2 to Kirby Puckett. Line to Pryor, who makes the play to end the inning. A bullet from Puckett, and the stab by Pryor takes a run away from the Twins here in the 4th inning. No runs on 1 hit. 2 left on. And after 4 in Minnesota, it is 1-0 Minnesota.
Michelob, something speak for themselves.
It goes without saying. Only the very finest ingredients can give you the smooth and mellow taste of Michelob. Michelob. Some things speak for themselves.
The unique Mira Master Hold telephone has a special feature to put your calls on hold so you can pick up from any extension in the house. One Master Hold phone upgrades all your home phones, whatever brand. So each will have the hold feature once one Master Hold is installed. Available at most popular stores.
Going to the 5th inning here in the Metrodome. It'll be the Cardinals against the Phillies live from Veterans Stadium Thursday night at 7:30 Eastern here on Sports Time. Then after the game, Bill Brown brings you up to date on what's happening throughout the major leagues on Penn & Chase right here on Sports Time. Speaking of the National League, Philadelphia beat the Cubs 6-3 that final day. Charlie Hudson getting the win. There you see the new owner of the Minnesota Twins, Carl Polak. That's what you call jumping on board at the right time. Frank White, Don Slott, and Steve Balboni in the 5th inning against Frank Viola.
I'll tell you one thing. You talk about jumping on board at the right time, Dwayne. You don't put together enough money to buy a major league franchise without making the right decisions.
You got that right. Curveball hit in the air left field. Frank around a little too early, and the ball is into the seats. He cracked it, but it went sky high and sailed to the seats just down the left field line. So Frank White, who fouled out swinging at the first pitch back in the second inning, is now ball one, strike one. He hit his 16th home run of the season last night. And of course, every time he hits one from here on out, it's a new career high for Frank White. Viola making Frank White look bad and chasing that last offering. Now the advantage goes to Viola. Ball one and strike two. Viola, big boy, 6 feet 4 inches tall, 210 pounds. Smithson last night going at 6 feet 8 inches tall. Fastball away, and it's 2-2.
And we touched briefly on the last time the Twins were in the chase back in 1970 when they finished first. Boy, how the faces have changed.
Strike three, swinging. 5 strikeouts for Frank Viola. Nothing hard to figure out there. Just rear back and go at it. Four out of 5 in the strikeout column. 4 out of the last 5 for Viola. Here is Don Slott, who was the first strikeout victim back in the second. Durwood Merrill says yes, it is a strike, and Slott is down 0-1. Durwood Merrill, the man at first base. The rest of the core, Tim Welke at second, Jim McKeon at third. Marty Springstead is the home plate umpire. Ball one. And now Viola behind 2-1. Slott is hitting left-handed pitching at a .340 clip for the year. Strike two, now 2-2. Against Minnesota this season, Don Slott starting tonight at .259. Career-wise against the Twins, he is a .246 hitter. And the count stays at ball 2 and strike 2. In fact, starting this game tonight, the Twins on a team batting average against Kansas City pitching at .264. Meanwhile, the Royals have hit at a .241 mark against Minnesota pitching. Ball 3, 3-2. And the man who has hit Minnesota pitching better than anybody else is not in the lineup tonight. And we're talking about George Brett. And hopefully George Brett will be back in the nearing days. Gaetti. Easy play on Slott. 2 up, 2 gone. 6 in a row now retired by Viola. And if you throw in the double play ball back in the second inning, or the third inning rather, he has nailed 8.
Well, if you count that double play, he's faced 1 over the minimum. Motley's double in the first with 2 outs.
And with that in mind, he is looking pretty good and continues to go as he faces Balboni with a fastball in at the letters for a strike. Balboni fouled out to Laudner in the second inning. Steve hit a long home run here last night. And this ball is hit to the opposite field, a base hit. Balboni has a 2-out single. So the tying runner is on for Greg Pryor. So with Balboni at first, here is Pryor, who singled to center back in the third inning. First time Steve has had a single outside of a home run. He's had 3 home runs in his last 4 games. So 5 of his last 8 hits have been home runs. To take it a step further. Pryor swinging the first pitch, sends it foul upstairs. Just to give you an idea of how well Frank Viola has gone this year, he has already set his personal career high in victories, and he tied Ken Schramm's win mark of 15 set a year ago. So with a win tonight, missing. Now strike call, no balls, 2 strikes. A win tonight would be his 16th, and that would be the most since 1980 when Jerry Koosman won 16. And the last Twins pitcher to win more than 16 was Koosman, who won 20 in 1979. Pryor protecting the outside part of the plate, swings and hits it foul. Pryor had a thought and held back on it. Ball and 2 strikes. Pryor playing with a couple of nagging injuries right now. He can't afford to sit down. Last ball running in, missing off the corner, 2-2. He has got a good blower going tonight, folks. Well, the Royals have seen some good ones. Smithson had a good one last night, clocked up around consistently at 89 and 90. Already tonight, Viola has been at the 90-mile-an-hour mark with his. Check swing, foul outside of first.
Last night, Dwayne, there's no question. I think the key to the Minnesota attack was getting their 1, 2, 3 hitters aboard so often. Tonight, you look at the 2, 3, and 4 hitters for Minnesota, Tuffle, Hatcher, and Hrbek. They've been on base a total of 4 out of 6 times. For the Royals, 1 out of 6.
To center field, pushing Puckett back, and Puckett is there to make the catch. No runs on a 2-out single by Balboni. He is stranded, and after 4 1/2, the Royals have left 2 on and trail to the Minnesota Twins 1-0.
You're watching Sports Time with the games you don't want to miss. Hi, I'm Jack Buck here for Sports Time, where it's a whole new ballgame. Now you can enjoy all the excitement of regional college football and basketball on Sports Time, Mid-America's Sports Network. This fall, Sports Time will bring you over 70 major college football games from the Big 8, Big 10, Pac-10, Southwest, Missouri Valley, and Mid-American conferences, and major independents like Pittsburgh, defending national champion Miami, and Boston College. Now that's more than any other network. And later this fall, over 75 college basketball games from the Big 8, Big 10, and 6 other major conferences. Also, NHL hockey, MISL soccer, boxing, and more. In total, more than 500 live sporting events each year. Subscribe to Sports Time now. Call your local cable company today.
One 1-0 ball game. Liebrand and the Royals going to work against the Twins in the 5th inning. Say it's the Pirates against the Cardinals live from Busch Stadium in St. Louis on the Sports Time schedule Friday night starting at 8:30 Eastern. There you see George Brett conversing with his good pal Bud Black, the Kansas City dugout. George thought last night he might be in there during batting practice, but that wasn't the case, nor was it the case tonight. Very, very frustrating, and who knows more about that than George Brett. Well, Dick Hauser would like to get him back in there. Day-to-day thing, although George is feeling better now than he has in recent days. Maybe Seattle. We'll all know that story before much longer. Tim Tuffle looking at the 1-0 pitch here from Liebrand. 2-0. Played by Frank White. Has plenty of time, and Tuffle is retired. So with one down, here comes the Charlie Leibrandt wrecking crew and Mickey Hatcher. 2 for 2 with an RBI tonight. 6 out of 11 this season against Leibrandt. Mickey Hatcher. First ball swinging, just getting a piece of it. Hatcher a year ago hit .317 for the Minnesota Twins. He had 9 homers and 47 runs batted in. Those represented major league highs in all departments. And Leibrandt misses with ball 1. He has topped his RBI count this year with 60. His home run number is down by a total of 5. Leibrandt changing and missing 2 and 1. But he's hit for the good average again. Better than 300, and he's played in a lot more ball games. Hatcher tonight is playing in his 134th game. I said a year ago he played in 106. Fastball hit in the air. Is it playable for Slot? Carrying the mash. Now throwing it away, but it's back 3 rows above the Kansas City dugout on the first base side. Ball 2 and strike 2 as the wave makes its way through the Metrodome. Section after section of fans standing with arms raised in the air. Charlie Leibrandt right now worried about one guy, and that's Mickey Hatcher.
You know, the first time, Dwayne, I can remember seeing the wave was a game I did up at Oakland Alameda County Coliseum during the days of Billy Ball.
Hatcher lifts softly right field. It's going to be Frank White in right field to make the play in shallow right, calling off Lynn Jones, and Hatcher is retired. You know, I've said the same thing before. People have talked about it starting at the University of Washington or something, and maybe it did, but the first time I can recall it was 1981 at Oakland's Alameda County Coliseum.
Yeah.
Absolutely right. Crazy George. And
I remember it spread quickly, perhaps maybe that same fall, to the Kingdome in Seattle. And boy, I'll tell you what, you get into domed stadium and get a place packed with football fans, and they'll bring that concrete dome down up at the Kingdome.
Crazy George does that act here, doesn't he? For Minnesota?
Yeah, sure does. I think everywhere Crazy George has gone, he has shown people the wave, and then people pick it up by themselves. Nobody starts it here.
Ken Hrbek swinging away, sends it high toward the tent in straightaway center. Boy, that one is headed for the rooftop, and Willie Wilson was there to get it. 1-2-3 for Leibrandt. The first time he's done that tonight here in the 5th inning. So after 5, it is still Kansas City down by 1 to Minnesota.
This is today's Chevrolet.
This is exciting.
Eurosport.
The new front-drive Celebrity Eurosport. Special F41 sport suspension straightens out curves in a car that looks as special as it feels.
Eurosport.
Move into more celebrity. Eurosport, a touch of Europe at a Chevrolet price.
That's a great touch.
That's today's Chevrolet.
People have trust in it. It has helped secure the future for many and helped others start over again. For countless families, it is shelter from the unexpected because they know it will be there when they need it most. It stands for affordable protection and service, a symbol of a strong growing company and its family of agents. It's the shield of Shelter Insurance. For your life, health, home, and car, it's all the shield you'll ever need.
Still the same, 1-0 Minnesota going to the 6th inning. Say there's a new viewpoint on Sports Time, and it's all yours. That's right. Starting Sunday, Sports Time opens its phone line for you to call and talk sports with Todd Donahoe on Viewpoint. You can express your opinions or ask questions on anything that relates to sports. Call 513-381-3770. Feel free to call Collect to get in on the action. That's Viewpoint. Sunday night, 7:30 Eastern on Sports Time. John Wathen is batting for Buddy Biancalana. It'll be Bucky Dent to play shortstop. And the Royals go out defensively in the bottom of the 6th inning. John Wathen takes the ball high. Biancalana's line tonight, 0 for 1, hitting into a double play. So the Duke is on here in the 6th inning. Wathen on the season hitting at 186 with 2 home runs and 10 runs driven in. And for John lately, it's been a lot of late inning work at first base. The 8th and 9th inning. See Laudner and Viola having a conversation out at the mound. I'm sure right now they're getting everything squared away with John Wathen. Bucky Dent is warmed up. He's ready to go. He's making his way back in from the bullpen, and now Laudner is headed back behind home plate. Wathen is making his 13th plate appearance against Minnesota. Fastball swung at, swung through, and missed. And the Duke is 2 out of 12. His first 2 out times around against Minnesota. Well, the gun tells us that 88 miles an hour was the speed on that last fastball from Frank Viola. Shooting for the outside corner and missing it. 2-2 to Wathen. Fastball hit foul and out of play. It stays at 2-2. For the Minnesota Twins, after tomorrow night's game, it'll be an off day, and then Minnesota will travel to Texas for a weekend series with the Rangers. Strike 3, fastball up and away, and John Wathen is strikeout victim number 6. Get another look at this heater.
He just blows it by Johnny. Right up around the letters. Good pitch for John to really drive somewhere, and he just came up empty.
After the Texas series, Phil, the Twins come back home here. They'll play the White Sox and the Indians. And that'll be Minnesota's final home stand of the regular season, provided they fail to make the American League Championship Series. But their final 14 games will be against the White Sox and the Indians. Willie Wilson just got a piece, and it's ball 1, strike 1. And listening to different radio stations here in the Minneapolis area, a lot of folks are feeling good about the fact that after tomorrow night, the Twins will not have to play a contending team in the Western Division. 2 balls and a strike to Willie Wilson. But the way Cleveland has been playing, I'm not real ecstatic about playing the final 7 games on the road. Spire plays it nicely. Sidearm throw to Hrbek to retire Willie Wilson. Willie is 0 for 3. He has yet to get on base. Thus that makes everything go a little easier for Frank Viola.
Well, Viola, as we've said throughout this ball game, he is just throwing BBs. Got the fastball low and on the inside part of the plate. Willie couldn't get extended. Hit a ground ball to Spire's left. Chris, the veteran that he is, went down, got very, very low, and then threw a beauty to Hrbek.
So now Lynn Jones. And it's a strike. The Twins will wind up playing 3 games in Chicago, 4 games in Cleveland. And everybody feels it'll be on the road where either Kansas City, Minnesota, or California will take claim to the American League's Western Division flag for 1984. Jones, a bouncer behind the mound. Tough play for Spire. There's the dome hop. Working in favor of Lynn Jones in Kansas City this time. So Jones is on with a 2-out dome ball single.
That's the first time in this series that we've seen Kansas City benefit from a dome ball. Minnesota has 2 to show for their efforts, but that dome ball we're talking about is just a ball bounces so high on this spongy surface. All you can do is wait for it to come down. Nothing you can do.
Watch again. Look at Spire. Man, a kangaroo couldn't get up any higher than that and still have a chance at it. Darryl Motley stepping in, takes a ball down low and away. I recall a game here about 3 or 4 weeks ago with the Chicago White Sox. Bottom of the 9th inning. White Sox led 3-2. Runner on at first. 2 out. Tim Tuffle was the batter and hit a dying quail into right field. Motley hits. Third baseman Gaetti. He'll go the short route. We'll continue the story later. The Royals are finished here in the 6th. No runs on a hit. A runner left. Going to the bottom of the 6th inning. Gaetti, Viola, and the Twins leading Motley and the Royals 1-0.
Okay, I'm changing the strategy. I just made a Michelob Light for the winners.
Would a bunch of guys really play this hard for a beer? Well, it is Michelob Light, the rich, smooth taste you can compare to any beer you like.
Michelob Light for the winners.
You know what I like most about winning this game?
What?
The trophy.
Michelob Light.
So Charlie Liebrandt goes back out again against the Twins, looking to throw another 0 up there, and Lieb still trailing 1-0, looking ahead to the 7th inning. Meanwhile, looking ahead, 2 live games headline Sports Times football Saturday lineup. At 12:30 Eastern, it's Mid-American Conference action between Ohio University and Ball State. And at 3:30 Eastern, it's the Illinois Illini, headed by junior quarterback Jack Trudeau, taking on the Stanford Cardinals under new head coach Jack Elwood. That's coming up here on Sports Time. Well, the Brewers have it going, and there you look at Bucky Dent now at shortstop in place of Buddy Biancalana. Milwaukee scoring 9 in the 7th inning at Boston, now lead 14-4, bottom of the 7th inning. The Tigers 7, the Orioles 1. That game in the bottom of the 7th. Evans and Herndon, they have homered for the Detroit Tigers as the Tigers roll here through September in the AL East. Brunansky looks at a ball 1-0. The hits are even at 4, but Minnesota has the advantage in the run column. Willie Wilson left center. Nice job of playing. Brunansky has the ball, 1 gone. Brunansky is line to left, line to center, and he flied to shallow right field back in the 1st inning. Now Gary Gaetti. Gaetti drills extra bases. 343 feet away. Gaetti with a double. That is the 5th Minnesota hit. Gaetti 1 out of 3. Here it is again. Lined it into left field. And it was Motley racing for the ball as it bounced into foul territory down in the corner. There's Darryl Motley. An easy standing double for Gary Gaetti. Now Dave Engel. Royals play Engel into left center field. Wilson moves over several steps into left center. Lynn Jones a good 120 feet off the line in right. Liebrandt falls behind with ball 1. There you see Gaetti. Strike to Dave Engel. Engel thought he was looking at ball 2, but Marty Springstead bringing it up as strike 1. Minnesota scored on a double and a base hit back in the third inning. The only scoring thus far. Fastball running inside above the letters and off the corner to Engel for ball 2, now 2-1.
You know, Dwayne, last night's telecast, we said at the outset we expected a superb pitching matchup, and we really had one through 6 innings. Tonight at the top of our show, we thought we would even have a better duel tonight on the mound. We have certainly had that.
And you can only expect to see much the same tomorrow night with Bud Black and John Butcher. This ball drilled to the left field corner, but foul. Dave Engel got around just a little bit too quickly that time on the pitch from Lee Brandt, and came up several feet shy of driving in his 39th run of the season. Gaetti returning to second base. Engel returning to home to pick up the lumber. And Lee Brandt will do it at ball 2, strike 2 with 1 away. Charlie Lee Brandt has served up 7 home run balls in his 122 innings starting tonight. Lee Brandt looking, thought he might have had the outside corner, but Bobby Springstead not giving an outside corner to Lee Brandt, so now he's gone full in the count at 3-2. Big pitch for Charlie Lee Brandt here. Breaking ball hit in the air. Foul territory, right field side. Balboni makes the over-the-shoulder catch and fires on to the cutoff man, Bucky Dent, to keep Gary Gaetti from having thoughts of going from second to third. Big play behind Lee Brandt that time by Steve Balboni. So now the catcher, Jim Laudner. Laudner has been on base twice tonight. Reached on a Biancalana error in the second inning. Swing and a miss. Swung and missed at strike 3 in the 4th inning. But with a Lee Brandt wild pitch, the ball bounced away from slot, and Jim Laudner made it to first base safely. Fastball inside, 1-1. Last night was the first time in Kansas City's last 6 games that the team failed to come from behind and win. Strike 2 called by Marty Springstead. So now Lee Brandt moves out in front in the count at a ball and 2 strikes against the Minnesota catcher.
Interesting thing about Laudner, Dwayne, he's been on base twice tonight without a hit or without walking.
Exactly right. You won't see that too often, will you?
An error and a drop third strike.
Missing outside. It now goes to ball 2 and strike 2. Lee Brandt was trying to get Tim Laudner that time to chase that ball at the knee, but off the outside corner of the plate. Laudner held and took it for ball 2. Laudner left center. Willie Wilson has it measured. Wilson has it for the out here to end the 6th inning. For the Twins in the bottom of the 6th, a 1-out double by Gaetti. He is stranded at second, and after 6 innings at Minneapolis, the Twins continue to lead the Kansas City Royals 1-0.
This is Sports Time, Mid-America's Sports Network. Hi, I'm Stacy St. James. All of us here at Sports Time are interested in your opinions and ideas on how we can bring you the very best sports programming ever. So, to make it easy, we're offering you consumer and programming hotlines, both available 24 hours a day and both at no cost to the caller. So if you'd like programming information, call 1-800-821-6256. In Missouri, call 1-800-392-5828. And if you have any consumer questions or comments, call 1-800-221-1047. In Missouri, just call 1-800-392-5797. Now, I'd like to remind you that as a subscriber, you play a very important part in Sports Time programming. So call now and let us know the games you don't want to miss on Sports Time, Mid-America's Sports Network.
Frank Viola has scattered 4 Kansas City hits, and he has a 1-0 lead going to the top of the 7th inning here at the Metrodome. Minnesota, Kansas City. Good one going here in game 2. And back to call it for you, here's Minnesota's fine governor, Rudy Perpich.
Thanks, Dwayne. McCray will lead it off. And when Dwayne talks about scattering 4 hits, he's not kidding. The Royals have not had 2 base runners on in the same inning yet tonight. McCray lifts Viola's first pitch over the wall, foul. McCray, White, and Don Slott. Boy, you look at Hatcher in left field. He's about 12 steps off the warning track. McCray looks at strike 2. Howe thinks he has gotten the short end of the stick behind home plate. I'm talking about Marty Springstead. Back in the 4th inning on a called strike 2, it wasn't even close. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Changeup is high. Out of play. One ball, 2 strikes. Evans the count at 2-2 now to McCray. Boy, give an awful lot of credit to that man right there. 4 shutouts this year. He leads the staff. 1 behind the American League leader Bobby Ojeda. Fly ball. This also will find the dead space down the right field line. Count stands at 2-2. Only once in this ball game have the Royals managed to put their leadoff man aboard. It was Pryor back in the 2nd. He led off with a base hit to center. Make that the 3rd inning. He was erased when Biancalana bounced into a double play. There's a shot to right center. Brunansky on the run is there. Boy, Tommy Brunansky off with the crack of the bat. With this outfield, you just don't find many gappers. That ball looked like it was going to find a hole, but Brunansky, oh, what a jump he got on the line. Shot off the bat of McCray. Here's White. Frank is 0 for 2. Fouled out to Laudner and struck out to open the 5th inning. One ball, 1 strike. The left-hander. 1-1. Oh, what a changeup, and White went out for it. Frank White, Mr. Smooth, one of the class guys on this Kansas City Royals ball club. 1-2. Bounces it. Count evens at 2-2. I doubt if Frank would have a whole lot of nice things to say about that guy right there at this particular moment in time. Viola has been red hot tonight. Kansas City, no runs, 4 hits. Minnesota, 1 run on 5 hits. Here's the pitch. Fly ball, right field. A long way. Brunansky Can he get there? No. Oh, did he go over the wall? Yow. And the crowd here applauding the effort by Tom Brunansky. Watch Brunansky. You don't think this guy wants to win? Gives it everything he has. Now watch the arm go up and go right over the top of that fence. Get another look at it from behind Tom.
He could afford to do that because he knows that that fence is going to give. If that's a brick wall down there, he begins to tiptoe about 10 feet away.
So White with the count of 2-2, 1 out. We are in the top of the 7th inning. Shot to right center. Again, it is Brunansky. Brunansky has seen his number called twice here in this 7th. Fly balls by McRae and now White, and here comes Don Slott. Slott 0 for 2. Now Viola still humming that ball right around the 87, 88, 89 mile-an-hour mark. That's about average, though, in this league. Get up into the high 80s, hovering around the 90 mile-an-hour mark. That's what most hitters are used to. But he's got some zip on it. Change up. Now, when you've got the outstanding fastball that's diving all around the plate, then you come back with that change. No balls, 2 strikes. Slott tried to punch it down the right field line. Brunansky is playing every Royal into right center field. Boy, the right field line, Dwayne, is wide open. Did the same thing last night, really. Right. Outfielders tend to collapse here to the center of the field, taking the gaps away. Boy, you look at Hatcher in left, same thing. They just completely take the alleys away here at the Metrodome. Tuffle. For 3. 3 up, 3 down for Viola. That is the 3rd time he has accomplished that in 7 innings. For the home half of number 7, score stands. Twins 1, Royals nothing.
Hi, this is Jerry Lewis for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. And these are some of my kids visiting the world-famous Budweiser Clydesdales. This year, once again, Anheuser-Busch is pledging over $2 million to muscular dystrophy. So look for these displays wherever you buy Bud and Bud Light. It's your chance to join the fight against muscular dystrophy. And thank you from all of my kids.
Somebody's flying your way. You know it's Ozark. We're up there flying your way. The way you wanna fly. Across the USA. Every day, Ozark flies your way. Ozark flies your way. Ozark.
Serving over 60 cities coast to coast, border to border.
Well, the Twins, with their run in the 3rd, have made it stand up thus far as we go to the bottom half of number 7, 1-0 Minnesota. Sports Times Football Saturday lineup continues 10:15 Eastern that night with our exclusive delayed broadcast of the Big 8 game of the week. The Missouri Tigers host non-conference foe Wisconsin. I know a team that is very near and dear to the heart of one each, Mr. Dwayne Mosley.
Bucky Badger rides again.
Well, always a powerhouse in the Big Ten.
You know, I was just talking to Dave McClain last night. He said he was going to listen tonight.
What you're saying is I probably will not be on the Badgers mailing list any longer?
No, I think you're done, big boy. I think you're in big trouble. Yeah.
Spire to open things up here in the home half of number 7 against Charlie Lebrand.
I was going to say Wisconsin and Missouri had a big ball game in Madison last year. They went down to the wire. Wisconsin won by a point or 2.
Well, I know it went down in the annals of NCAA football as one of the all-time great games in the history of the sport. There's Kurt Wardle, the rookie.
I'll be honest with you. I don't give a.
Excuse me. 2 balls and a strike to Spire.
Yeah, I'm just tuned into my UW River Falls Falcons. That's all I care about.
Now it's 3-1. Lee Brandt tonight has walked just 1. And that was back in the first when he gave a pass to Kent Hrbek. Boy, you hate to see a pitching performance like this wasted if you're a Royals fan. Boy, Lee Brandt, a run on 5 hits for Minnesota.
I was going to say the same thing, Phil. And then again, we're talking about Kansas City. They have seen good pitching. It's that old saying, good pitching will be good hitting any day.
Frank White to his left. He's got it. Sets to Balboni. Spire expired.
Spire what?
Gone. History. Riding the pine. Picking splinters. To the top of the order, and here's Kirby. Kirby has gotten the gate tonight. But boy, he has hit the ball. There's a little number. Lee Brandt was waiting for it. On to Balboni. And Kirby Puckett bidding for his 22nd base hit via the bunt. Comes up empty here in the 7th inning.
Nice job of fielding that time by Lee Brandt because he uses glove and bare hand with this. Watch as Lee Brandt approaches instead of right here trying to make a barehanded pick. Does it with the glove and with the bare hand. That way he makes sure he doesn't make a mistake on booting the ball. He's able to get it and make the play. Nice job by Charlie Lee Brandt.
Here's Tuffle, who with his double back in the 3rd inning extends his hitting streak to 7 games. There's a shot to left. Motley on the run. Can he get there? No, but he knocks it down. Tuffle rounds first. He heads for second base. The throw not in time. Timmy Tuffle with his 2nd double tonight.
That ball really started to die on Darryl Motley. I thought Motley was going to get to it. But that ball in its last 30, 40 feet really came down in a hurry. And here it is again. Motley was going to get to it, but he was able to keep that ball in front of him. That's the key part on that play there. The ball did not skip off of him in his chest area and head for that left field corner. Otherwise, it's off to the races.
Now the team of Tuffle and Hatcher have done in the Royals thus far tonight. Tuffle's double back in the 3rd, followed by a Hatcher single to right. And that has been it tonight. And now you're back to the same situation, but this time with 2 outs in Tuffle at second. Hatcher 2 for 3 tonight. Hatcher hitting .305 overall, but you put a guy at second or third, and that average climbs to .325. Now a timeout by the 3rd base umpire. Now they're saying time is back in. Swung on and missed. 2 balls and a strike. Charlie took something off of that fastball. Well, I'll tell you, if you're a member of the Minnesota Twins hierarchy, you've got to be a little bit down about this crowd tonight. Not a large crowd at all. Here's 2-1 offering. And Slot, a fine job of keeping it out in front of him. 3 balls into strike now to Hatcher. There you see Gura on the left, Saberhagen on the right. Now the outfield all the way around playing very shallow, particularly Willie Wilson and Lynn Jones. A shot. This will get through. Motley charges. Here comes a throw to the plate. Not in time to throw to second into center field. And Hatcher will head for third.
And Willie Wilson doing the smart thing by just running that baseball in. Here's another look at it. Hatcher drives in the second run of the game. Here it is, getting through the hole. Now here's Motley charging the ball, coming up with it. Here's the throw. It's going to be a few feet up the first base line. There's where Slot takes the ball. Now goes to second. And of course that ball skipped away and on into center field.
Now Blaylock is out. Hey, that is the 9th consecutive. That's the 9th straight hit for Mickey Hatcher with runners in scoring position. From the 7th inning on. Boy, I tell you, that's clutch hitting. I was waiting for them to give Slot an error that allowed Hatcher to move to third. You got to hang somebody with the error. Hatcher doesn't get to third on his own.
Well, it's going as a single and an error on Don Slot. They waited. They have yet to post it. Now just making that announcement.
That is the 3rd error by the Royals tonight. The 3rd Minnesota run 90 feet away. Ken Hrbek with the count of a ball and a strike. It's 2-0 Twins. Minnesota making a bid to take over sole possession of first place in the West. Foul ball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hatcher gets his lead. Leibrandt checks. Here's the 1-2 pitch. A shot deep to center. Willie Wilson off the wall. Run scored. Lynn Jones fields it. And they're going to wave her back in.
The ball. Well, look at Ken Hrbek. Pretty much sums up how this entire city feels right now. A very disgusted Charlie Leibrandt. There's the owner, was the owner, Carl Pohlad, in your screen. And the very, very pumped up Minnesota Twins ball club. Wilson tried to make an outstanding catch. And we'll give you another look at it here. Willie went to the wall 408 feet away. Power from Hrbek just drives this ball to deep right center field. Watch Willie here. She went to the wall, into the wall. Now it's up to Lynn Jones to run it down. By this time, Hrbek is well around second. Tom Kelly at this point is waving him around. And there you see Hrbek coming. And the ball hit Ken Hrbek and just bounced away helplessly. And there is Hrbek slamming his hand into the dirt behind home plate, helped up by Hatcher and Brunansky. And that inside the park home run, the second for Hrbek. He did it back in September of 1982 against Louis Leal and the Toronto Blue Jays. The Twins are humping hot right now, gang.
And here's Brunansky. Yeah, you don't think the owner of the Twins liked that effort? Carl Pohlad. Brunansky looking at 0-1 now off Lee Brandt. A 3 spot here in the bottom of the 7th. Deep to left field. Motley to the wall. He'll watch it go.
Well, for Charlie Leibrandt, a guy who had served up only 7 home runs through 122 plus innings starting tonight, has served up back-to-back jobbers here in the 7th inning. All the Minnesota scoring after 2 were out, and Dick Hauser is going to make a move here, and here comes Brett Saberhagen. Here's Leibrandt, hangs it up. Look at that, up around the letters. That gives you an idea of the power of Brunansky. He just attacked that baseball and sent it well over the wall in left field. About the, well, I was going to say about as far as Balboni went, but not quite on Balboni's home run last night. But Charlie Leibrandt, you got to tip your hat because he pitched a heck of a game, folks. He pitched one heck of a ball game, but he leaves knowing that he stands to be the losing pitcher in this ball game, and Saberhagen is on. The Minnesota Twins got it started with a 2-out double by Tuffle. Hatcher then singled him home. Went to third on the throwing error by Slott, trying to get him at second base. And then Hrbek with the inside the park home run, the 3rd inside the Parker this season by the Twins. And then Brunansky hitting his 30th home run of the season. For Brunansky, it was his 30th. For Hrbek, his 25th. And Minnesota, well, they talked about going through a power struggle, but now in the last 2 nights they have scored a total of 12 runs. And they're not through yet here in the 7th inning.
And in that same span, the Royals have put a grand total of 3 runs on the board. Viola working on a 4-hit shutout right now. But I tell you, Brett Saberhagen and the Royals going not out of this yet. They've got Gaetti, Engel, and Laudner with 2 outs here. 4 runs are in.
Sandwiched in between the football action Saturday is a live Major League Baseball game between the Dodgers and the Reds. That's at 7 Eastern from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. The Redlegs and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Brunansky, Phil, he is the first Twin to hit 30 home runs since a man seated in the booth to our right tonight. Harmon Killebrew had 41 in 1970.
And that was the last year the Twins were in first place, or finished in first place, I should say. Here's a little number. Balboni can handle that one. So Gaetti finally puts an end to the madness. The crowd on its feet here at the Metrodome. 7 Twins come to the plate. 2 of them power them out of here. A 4 spot in the 7th, and Minnesota leads this one 5-0. And now let's go to Sports Desk in Stacy St. James.
Good evening, everybody. Well, our Athlete of the Week winner this week really came out swinging. The bat, that is. He is Cincinnati Reds left fielder Eric Davis, who after coming off the disabled list September 1st, has been on a hard-hitting streak. Last week, Davis became the first Reds player to hit 5 home runs in 4 games since George Foster did it in 1978. In the first inning of Thursday's game against the Padres, Davis was number 3 on the order, and after Rose's single, he hit this one over the left field wall to score 2 for Cincinnati. After that lead, the Reds followed suit and won the game by a score of 10-3. At age 22, Eric Davis definitely has time on his side, and if he keeps up this pace, he just may make the record books. When asked about Davis last week, Coach Pete Rose said whenever we put him in the lineup, he's responded by hitting a home run. In 51 games, Davis has 34 hits, 25 RBIs, and 8 home runs. For all of us here at Sports Time and all of our viewers, I'd like to congratulate Eric Davis for exceptional play. Eric Davis is Sports Time's Athlete of the Week.
Well, welcome back to the Metrodome in Minneapolis, everybody. What was a close game a few moments ago has now turned into somewhat of a rout. It was 1-0 with 2 outs in the 7th inning when Minnesota laid the lumber. The big blow, Kent Hrbek's inside the park job with the runner aboard. Brunansky followed with the home run that sailed out of here. And it is now 5-0 Minnesota. Balboni to lead things off. Viola with a changeup, and it's no balls into strike.
You know, the Twins have gone through such a power slump dating back to the 5th of August, where up until last night, when they got 4 runs in the 8th inning last night, it marked the first time since the 5th of August that the club had scored 4 runs in an inning. Now they've been able to do it back-to-back nights, which is a very good indicator for Billy Gardner that his team is starting to get things back together again offensively.
Boy, tip your hat to this man, Viola. Frank going for his 16th victory. And that is tops on this pitching staff. Butcher, Smithson, Viola, all with at least 12 victories. 2-2. Balboni just a piece. Well, we told you at the top of the telecast, Frank Viola tied with Tom Seaver and Mike Boddicker, second in the league in shutouts with 4. That is just 1 behind Bobby Ojeda. Strikeout number 7 for Balboni. That's the first time he has fanned tonight. Well, should the Royals, Dwayne, go on and lose this ball game, boy, you set yourself up for a possible sweep by the Twins tomorrow night.
And that's exactly what the Royals wanted to avoid coming into this thing. That's why last night's ball game was so important. You want to get the first one out of the gate. Now tonight's game took on even more importance because you wanted to avoid going to that 3rd and final game, needing a win to get out of town, going to Seattle. Now the worst the Royals can do, obviously, by losing 3 is to fall 2 games behind. But with a win tonight, it could have set up going into last night's game with a loss there, leaving town still tied for first place.
Now tonight's attendance, 20,982. Pryor puts it straight away center. Puckett should handle it easily. And he does. How do you figure that attendance? They had 27,000 last night. Their team won. Check that, 23,795 last night. They've got 3,000 less tonight, and their club came into tonight's ball game in a tie for first. Now Leon Roberts will come on to pinch hit for Bucky Dent here with 2 outs in the 8th.
And I would look for Jim Scranton to be the shortstop when the Royals go out defensively in the bottom of the 8th.
Mario Soto, incidentally, won his 15th game tonight, a 7-3 whitewash of the Giants. Randy Lurch took the loss. He's 5-3.
It has been a while since Leon Roberts, Phil, has had an at-bat.
Incidentally, in that game, that Cincinnati game, Dwayne, Soto had a game-winning RBI, his 2nd of the year. So often you hear that term all-around athlete bandied around. I tell you, he is the consummate all-around athlete. Even got a temper to go along with it.
He has that.
Of course, Philadelphia down the Cubs today. 20 on 9,000 on hand at Wrigley. One ball and 2 strikes, 2 outs. We are in the top of the 8th inning, 5-0 Minnesota. It was a 1-run game last night until the 8th inning. 3-2 Minnesota until they put 4 on the board in the 8th. Tonight it was a 1-run game until the 7th inning, when with 2 outs again the Twins struck with a vengeance. He walked Leon Roberts. For Viola, his first base on balls tonight. And as I told you earlier, here's a guy who just doesn't give up bases on balls very often. 216 2/3 innings coming in. 122 strikeouts, 60 walks. Willie Wilson. Fly ball will reach the seats. You ever have those feelings down in your gut where you think something's going to happen? I got a feeling number 6 is going to put a ball in play here. No balls, 2 strikes. Tried to get Wilson to go fishing on a changeup. It was on the outside part of the plate. Count goes to a ball and 2 strikes. Willie on tonight 0 for 3. Make it 2-2. Boy, Viola, he has been something. Never in 7 2/3 innings tonight have the Royals had 2 runners aboard. Willie just hanging in there.
If you're the new owner, Carl Pohlad, you pull out the file on this man's contract, you rip it up, and ask him what he wants. You get this man to stay around for a long time. You can see why tonight. This man has been talked about as being one of the very best this year.
Yeah, that feeling I had a moment ago. You ever have the feeling sometimes you're going to be wrong?
Oh, yeah.
That is strikeout number 8 for Viola. What a job he has done on Kansas City. Let's go to the home half of the 8th. It's 5-0 Twins.
This is today's Chevrolet.
Performance.
Camaro Z28. A Camaro that did a test track 0 to 55 in 6 seconds. A Camaro with remarkable new handling.
Z28.
Camaro. More beauty and a lot more beast.
Now that's a moving performance.
That's today's Chevrolet.
People have trust in it. It has helped secure the future for many and helped others start over again. For countless families, it is shelter from the unexpected because they know it will be there when they need it most. It stands for affordable protection and service, a symbol of a strong growing company and its family of agents. It's the shield of Shelter Insurance. For your life, health, home, and car, it's all the shield you'll ever need.
Say Sunday at 1 Eastern Sports Time presents the Indiana University Soccer Classic. It'll feature Indiana against Clemson and Virginia against UCLA. You see it, I see it, we all see it. We have Onyx Concepcion. Let me do this.
Well, he's going to get his first look at a baseball in a while, and he's up to the task. He just simply guns down Dave Engel.
We're having some fun right now, aren't we, Phil?
Well, I got to think long and hard when I had any more fun. I'm sure the folks at home know exactly what we're going through. Anybody who's watched the Tonight Show and watched Johnny and Ed get into those giggling binges, just can't get yourself out of them. But we'll pull it together. Lautner. He's 0 for 3, but he's been on base twice. You people figure it out. He hasn't walked, and he hasn't singled. He was aboard on an error in the second. He struck out in the fourth.
Well, the good thing about this game tonight is that tomorrow night Bud Black. Buddy will be back out for Kansas City. I wonder if Ted Turner's crew has to go through this with their director.
Yeah. 3 balls and 2 strikes now on Laudner. As you look at Dan Quisenberry. Slot holds on. Laudner's history. So with 2 outs, here's Chris Spire. Spire's 1 for 3. He singled with 2 outs back in the 4th inning and died there when Kirby Puckett hit a line shot at Pryor. One ball, no strikes. Saberhagen, beauty, fastball inside part of the plate, 0-2. Yeah. Well, not only I had the count wrong, but both scoreboards had the count wrong. That makes it a ball and 2 strikes. Two and 2 now. Now, don't forget, as Dwayne was saying, what a matchup we've got tomorrow. Smithson will go out to the mound, pardon me, Butcher, against Bud Black for Kansas City. Saberhagen works 2-2. Beauty. And again, this time it is Spire who fouls it off, and once more Slot hangs on. 3 up, 3 down for Soda. We go to the top of the 9th. The Royals need a bunch. They're down 5-0.
You're watching Sports Time with the games you don't want to miss. We're Sports Time for live major events.
In Indianapolis, the largest crowd ever to see a basketball game in U.S. history, and the world indoor record to see a basketball game in attendance tonight, 67,569.
I've been waiting for Perkins to get into the offensive act, and that turnarounder from the baseline or his jump hook from that area is so deadly.
10 points for Perkins now.
And he has a steal now.
Here's Michael Jordan. Oh, he's got 2. And the excitement with Robert Reed all over his back.
That's an indication of what the NBA players can see in the coming years. That was power personified.
We're Sports Time, playing the games you don't want to miss.
The Twins 5 runs, 9 hits, no errors. Kansas City a goose egg, 4 hits and 3 errors. Other scores around the league: Toronto derailed the Yankees 10-3. Milwaukee with 9 runs in the 7th inning handled the Red Sox 14-6. Out at Anaheim, Cleveland, nothing in the top of the 1st against the Angels. Called strike to Lynn Jones. That's a ball and a strike. Fly ball, straightaway center, Kirby Puckett. Here's Motley. Darrell on the night is 1 for 3. Had a double back way back in the 1st with 2 outs. And since then, all has been quiet in the Motley household. Ball and a strike. There's his shot. Gets right past Viola off the corner of the mound. And with one out, Motley gives the Royals a start here in the ninth. That is Kansas City's first hit since Jones got one of the dome ball infield hits with 2 outs back in the 6th. For the Royals, that is hit number 5 overall. They have really been corralled tonight. McCray. Howe gave it a ride in the 7th inning, deep to right. Looks at a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. Boy, not only is this a small crowd, 20,000 on hand to watch a team move into sole possession of first place, Dwayne, but been a rather quiet crowd with the exception of Hrbek's infield to park home run. Little dying liner to right field. Brunansky waited a long time. Of course, up 5-0. I guess you can afford to do that.
He just wants to make sure there that he doesn't charge the ball and let the ball embarrass him. He just wants to make sure that the ball stays in front of him and he keeps people at first and second rather than second and somebody scoring.
Now that was a breaking ball that Viola hung to McCray for Howe, his first hit on the night. And here's Frank White, who is 0 for 3.
You know, Johnny Padres, along with Billy Gardner, very happy with what they have seen tonight from their prize left-hander Frank Viola. The Padres has done a great job with his pitching staff.
And almost to a man, Dwayne, the staff has responded by giving Johnny Padres a lot of credit for developing these young guys into what they are today.
It's such a unique situation. Not all pitching coaches have this luxury of getting a group of guys who all want to listen and learn. And that's exactly what Padres has had with his group here. And you can see the results from guys like Viola, Butcher, Smithson, Ron Davis, and Pete Filson are up in the Minnesota bullpen.
Motley at second base, McCray at first. A 2-1 offering to White. He lines it to the seats in right. Well, brought up an interesting point about pitching coaches. Not only do very few of them inherit a decent staff to work with, but I think by and large it would be safe to say that pitching coaches around the league, I don't think command a great deal of respect from pitching staffs. I know I could take some heat for that, but I've talked to enough pitchers around both leagues. It's too high. 3 balls and 2 strikes. And many of them have told me that, hey, we'd rather not have that guy around.
Well, and you're going to get that, Phil, and I'm sure as time goes on here, you're going to get somebody or two on the Minnesota staff that'll say that about Johnny Padres. And usually that comes with guys who have had success or who have struggled to maybe have success and haven't lived up to expectations. And there's a walk to Frank White.
Boy, first time all night the Royals have had 2 guys on, and now they have got the bases loaded. And here comes Johnny Padres.
Don Slott is due next. But the base is loaded and 1 away. And Balboni to the on-deck circle.
You know, I can't help but going back, Dwayne, to what I was talking about earlier tonight. When you go back to 1970, the last time the Twins won a pennant, finished first place. Boy, the names on that team. How about Oliva, Carew, Cesar Tovar, Leo Cardenas, Bobby Allison, Harmon Killebrew, Blyleven, Perry. There's Motley at third. Out at second base is McCray. White is over at first. In fact, Blyleven back in 1970. You want to know how long ago that's been? He was Rookie of the Year. Jim Perry won the Cy Young. Well, that's going back a ways.
Yeah, they had some players.
Slott looks at a strike, and now this crowd comes to life. Cleveland got 3 in the first inning at California. They lead the Angels 3-0. Viola. Too high. Well, I'll tell you, Slott hammers one out of here. We got a ball game, because that would bring the big stick to the plate, Steve Balboni.
As it stands now, he's the tying run of the game in the on-deck circle. And don't you think for one minute that Frank Viola is very much aware of that?
Look at Slot. Hits it hard to left. Not nearly deep enough. It'll score a run. Motley tags. Nobody else advances. When it left Slot's bat, from our vantage point here in the elevated press box, it appeared as if that ball was going to go a lot farther.
And Frank Viola a little bit disgusted with the fact that he has lost a chance of getting his 5th shutout of the season. But he is getting a nice warm round of applause, and now they begin to stand in the Metrodome for Frank Viola, the 24-year-old left-hander that is now within 1 out away. Balboni stands between win number 16 on the season.
Fouled off right above us.
Balboni had a good cut and missed on it. Ball was up and out in the part of the plate where Steve Balboni can reach it and take you deep. Viola got away with one.
Now, should Balboni pound one here, boy, that misplay on Hrbek's shot off the center field wall would loom awfully large, but it does not appear as if that indeed will be the case. 0-2. Now this crowd is roaring. Let's listen. A ball. There's a liner foul. So Balboni steps back in. Boy, the outfield shifted way around the left. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Frank Viola, strikeout number 9. Back-to-back home runs in the 7th inning by the Twins. Hrbek, an inside the park job. Brunansky, a solo shot. The damage is done at the Metrodome. Minnesota 5, Kansas City 1. Dwayne and I will wrap it up for you in just a moment.